Alright guys, hope you're doing well. So this is just a short introduction to the next two videos. I'm going to split these videos into two parts because they're 30 minutes long and people don't really like to sit through 30 minutes of video. So yeah, it's about love tanks. It's very important. It's about the 7-year cycles and how each cycle of your life is split into 7 sections, and you need to fill up each section with a certain type of love before really you can get on to the next section. Just a quick one for Patreon. YouTube is clamping down on people. Same with Google. I'm going to be doing a video soon, so I'm kind of moving away a little bit. Check out my Patreon channel. I've just uploaded a video about clairvoyance and psychics, my experiences with around 5 or 6 clairvoyants, but really 3 in particular. What they've said about me, and my connection to Jesus, which is interesting. And also I'm talking about a really interesting, cool project in there, which is in the pipelines, and I'm giving sort of a sneak access, sneak preview to the Patreon people. So go and check that out. But yeah, next video, really cool one. It really helped me out in my life. It's called Love Tanks and 7-year cycles. So hope you. Alright guys, hope you're doing well. My name is Rowlands and I'm a nutritional balancing practitioner. And in this video I'm going to talk about something called love tanks or life stages. Now what's interesting is many people are aware of the 7 chakras, and there's this ongoing number 7 that comes up in many different things. The 7 deadly sins, the 7 heavenly virtues. We have 7 organs, and you see 7 basically in many different ways, and God uses number 7 chakras obviously, and you can always split a lot of things up into sections of 7. And it also happens in our lives, is we have 7-year cycles. And if you understand the 7-year cycles and what they mean, it gives you a really good understanding of where you're at life. And sometimes it helps you to feel a little bit more sure of yourself and what you're doing. Because if you try and compare yourself, say you're 25 for example, you try and compare yourself to a 50-year-old or a 35-year-old, oh they're doing this, oh they're doing that, why do I feel like I want to do this? Then it gives you a good understanding of the reasons why you might feel like you want to do a certain thing, and it can stop you from comparing. It really helped me, for example. Obviously I see Dr. Wilson as a big aspiration to me. I really look up to him and I kind of see what he's doing. And I always thought in my younger, when I was in my 20s, that I should be doing kind of what he's doing. But I was wanting to do other things, and I was like, this is not right. Why do I feel like this? And then I realised about the 7 cycles, about the love tanks, and it helped me get a much better understanding of me as a person and some of the reasons why I was having certain feelings. And it's important to honour the feelings if they're healthy ones, because that's what's needed for proper development and proper growth. So let's talk about these 7 cycles. So the first, and it's related to love as well, which is very interesting. You'll see when I start speaking about them. So the first love tank, basically, and how these love tanks work, these 7-year cycles, is that you need your tank full before you can properly develop onto the next cycle. If that love tank's not full, if that tank's not filled up, then you've kind of got to go backwards and fill up the one that's missing. So people who are in the 40s, 45, 46 tend to go through something called a midlife crisis, and this generally happens because they haven't filled up an earlier love tank. So usually they haven't filled up a love tank in their 20s, and these usually men in mid-40s have to go back, or try and go back, should I say, not have to, they try and go back and drive around in sports cars and go out with younger women and go to nightclubs and stuff as a way for them to try and fill up that specific tank that wasn't filled up earlier on in their life. So from around 0 to 7, this is the first cycle, and your love comes externally from you, mainly. You're very much connected to God, really, at this stage as well. So there's this dynamic between God and your parents. But in general, you need unconditional love from your parents. You are totally dependent on love from parents, which is understandable. If you don't get correct love from parents, on the extreme end of the scale, you'll die. You are totally dependent on parents' love, on giving food, warmth, shelter, dealing with traumas. You're totally dependent on your parents from 0 to 7. So that love is so important, and you need that constantly to fill up your love tank. We all know about people who have traumas in later life because they had traumas in the early stages when the parents wasn't teaching them properly, when they were stealing love, stealing energy, and this creates a lot of trauma. And you've kind of got to go backwards to the scene of crime sometimes, which happens in nutritional balancing. All of a sudden people will feel like a 15-year-old or a 10-year-old or even a 5-year-old because they're healing the wounds from the past in the present. So unconditional love from parents to fill up that first love tank, so important. So from around 7 to 14, the next stage, this is a lot to do with fun and play and experiencing life and, just making a transition away from total dependence on parents to starting to depend on the self a little bit. So this next stage has a lot to do with play and fun and rough and tumble play and just trying to experience life a little bit, so you're starting to get love, you're obviously still getting your love from your parents, so this love tank's filled up, but you're also starting to get this other sort of love, which is a little bit immature in the beginning, but it starts to grow from kind of friends and peers and other people, extension. So you're starting to trust the world, trust friends, trust peers, your parents. You should be starting to become a little bit independent, so your parents aren't wrapping children in cotton wool. So the love tank is starting to come from different areas, from peers and friends a little bit, the self, feeling independent, feeling like they can do things by themselves. So, when children have difficulties in this area is when, for example, they start, their parents are ill, so they have to feel like they're looking after the parents, or a parent dies, so they might have to feel like they're a fatherly figure to a younger child, for example, between the ages of 8 and 14, so they don't have the experience of fun and laughter and play and rough and tumble, and this damages this specific love tank. So the next love tank is from around 14 to 21. Now this is a big one, really. This is the love tank for real friends and peers. So if you can see, we've come from this young child, and you're getting total love and dependence from parents, so it really comes outwards, and then love's starting to come towards them a little bit with self-love and independence and love from friends and peers. Now from 14 to 21, this is the time when you go to college, when you go to school, when you go to university. So a lot of trust and a lot of moving into the world and becoming less dependent on parents' love and more dependent on trusting friends and trusting people at school, and feel comfortable at school and safe and held, and feeling part of a group and feeling like you're part of a team, and getting the self-confidence and the self-love from these areas of life. And the way that this love tank is damaged is when you feel like you're not part of something, not part of friends don't like you, you're getting bullied, for example, feeling isolated. So this love tank doesn't fill itself up. So we've got parents' love tank, which can get damaged by improper parental love. I mean, they can all get damaged in every area, but it's the main one. And then you got fun and rough and tumble and learning to become a little bit more independent, which can get damaged from feeling like you were taking responsibility of other things that you shouldn't be responsible for. An 8 and 14-year-old shouldn't be responsible for things. So this is how these love tanks can get damaged. And you got your 14 to 21-year-old, so it's college, university, school, love tank from friends and peers and that sort of stuff. Damaged by bullying and not integrating yourself properly, which can happen from ill health. You know, when I was ill in my teenage years, I didn't feel like I fully fitted in. So that was a problem for me. I didn't feel like I had deep, meaningful friends. So the next love tank, we're coming inwards now. So this is, the next love tank is very important. 21 to 28.